In the Islamic prophecies of the end times, there's one story that stands out as the ultimate test of faith, the greatest trial humanity will ever face. Today, we're diving into the chronicle of the Dajjal, the great deceiver. We're going to follow this story step by step, chronologically, from his prophesied emergence all the way to his final, epic confrontation. You know, the Prophet Muhammad described this figure with such intensity, such vivid detail, that his companions felt his presence was right there, right then. They felt like he could be hiding just over the next hill, in a grove of palm trees. This quote really captures that profound, immediate fear. For them, this wasn't some distant legend. It was a terrifying reality that could be just around the corner. So let's dig into that fear. Who exactly is this figure? And what is it about his trial, his fitna, that makes it the single greatest test in the entire chronicle of the end times? Well, his name tells you everything you need to know. Dajjal literally means the deceiver. He is the ultimate con artist, the false messiah. His entire purpose is to mislead, to confuse, and to present himself as the messiah of guidance, when in reality, he's the messiah of misguidance. Now, the prophecies get incredibly specific about what he looks like, and it's not just to paint a scary picture. These are meant to be clear, unmistakable signs. He's described as a young man with thick, curly hair and one defective eye. But the biggest sign, the one that any believer is supposed to recognize, whether they can read or not, is the word Kafir, or disbeliever, written right there between his eyes. Okay, so let's move on to his big entrance. The prophecies don't just tell us where he'll show up, but how his arrival will literally bend and warp the fabric of time itself. And this isn't some vague, mythical location. The accounts pinpoint his origin to a road between Sham, what we know as Greater Syria, and Iraq. It's from this very real place that he'll begin to unleash his corruption, spreading it relentlessly across the globe. Now, this is where things get really wild. His reign on Earth will last for 40 days, but these aren't your normal days. That first day will feel like an entire year, the second day will feel like a month, the third, a week, and only after that will the remaining 37 days feel normal. It was so strange that the companions asked, "So, for that day that's like a year, do we just pray 5 times?" And the answer was, no. You have to calculate the time and pray as you would throughout a normal year. And he won't just be walking. His movement is described as being supernaturally fast. The texts use this amazing image, like a rain cloud blown by a powerful wind, to show just how impossibly quickly he'll cover the globe, making sure almost no one escapes his trial. So how in the world does he deceive so many people? Well, he's given the ability to perform these incredible, reality-bending feats that look just like miracles. And they're all designed for one purpose, to shatter the faith of humankind. This right here is the absolute core of his deception. He'll show up with 2 rivers, one that looks like cool, clear water, and one that looks like a raging fire. But the reality is the exact opposite. What looks like water is actually hellfire, and what looks like fire is actually cool, sweet water. It's the ultimate test. Are you going to trust what your eyes are screaming at you or what your faith tells you is true? And for those who fall for it, for those who accept him as their Lord, the rewards are instant and amazing. He'll command the sky, and it'll rain. He'll command the earth, and crops will spring up. Their animals will come back from grazing fatter than ever, with their udders full of milk. He basically offers them a perfect, material paradise right here on earth. But for those who see through the illusion and reject him, the consequences are just as immediate and absolutely devastating. He'll just turn his back on them, and they'll wake up to drought, famine, and total poverty. All of their wealth gone. It's even said that the treasures of the earth will follow him round like a swarm of bees follows its queen. But his greatest trick, his showstopper, is this. He will call forward a young man, a true believer, and in front of everyone, strike him with a sword, slicing him cleanly in 2. He'll place the 2 halves of the body far apart, walk between them, and then simply call the man's name, and the young man will come back together, fully alive, laughing and radiant. So you'd think that's it, right? Game over. Who could argue with that? But here is the incredible, powerful twist. The Dajjal turns to the man and says, "Now do you believe in me?" And the man's response is just amazing. He says, "By God, seeing this has only made me more certain that you are the Dajjal we were warned about." The one act that was supposed to prove his divinity becomes the ultimate proof of his deception. Now, the Dajjal tries to kill that man again, but he can't. His power has a limit. And it's at this exact moment, as his ultimate power play fails, that the whole story takes a dramatic turn. A savior arrives. Right then, at the peak of the Dajjal's power and in this moment of pure defiance, Jesus, son of Mary, Isa ibn Maryam, is prophesied to descend to earth. His arrival is the signal that the reign of the great deceiver is coming to an end. And just like with the Dajjal, the descriptions of his return are incredibly specific, almost cinematic. He'll descend at the white minaret in eastern Damascus, a real city, wearing 2 beautiful garments and placing his hands on the wings of 2 angels. And his power isn't about deception or parlor tricks. It's divine and absolute. The prophecy says that the very scent of his breath will be lethal to every non-believer it reaches, and his breath will travel as far as he can see. This isn't an illusion to persuade you. It's a divine force that purifies. Okay, so all of this is building to one final, epic moment. The stage is set, the players are in place, and it's time for the ultimate showdown. With the true believers now gathered with him, Jesus will set out to find the Dajjal, and the deceiver, knowing his time is up, will be on the run, heading towards Jerusalem. The chase finally ends, just as it was prophesied, at the Gate of Ludd. And Ludd, or Lod, is a real city that exists today in Israel, not far from Tel Aviv. The prophecy couldn't be more direct. This is the spot where the false Messiah will finally meet his end at the hands of the true Messiah. And his end is so symbolic. The narrations say that as soon as the Dajjal lays eyes on Jesus, he will just begin to dissolve, to melt away like salt in water. All of his terrifying power, all of his grand illusions, just prove to be nothing in the presence of divine truth. Jesus then strikes him down, and the great trial is finally over. You know, this whole epic chronicle really revolves around one central question: the clash between worldly illusion and divine truth, between what our eyes can be tricked into seeing and what our faith allows us to know. And it leaves us with a question that's as relevant today as ever. When you're faced with overwhelming deception, what's the real difference between just seeing something and truly believing?